Good morning, students. Welcome to online classes. This is Dr. Lakshmi. I am going to teach you molecular biology for the fifth semester. In molecular biology, the first topic of first unit is Watson and Crick model of DNA. To understand Watson and Crick model of DNA, we should get some basic information about the terminology. The two basic terms are nucleoside and nucleotide. What is nucleoside? Nucleoside is a compound formed by the combination of a pentose sugar and nitrogen base. So, nucleoside means nitrogen base attached to pentose sugar. What is nucleotide? Nucleotide is a compound formed by the combination of nucleoside and phosphate group. What is nucleoside? A pentose sugar attached to nitrogen base is nucleoside. When this nucleoside is attached to phosphate group is known as nucleotide. Nucleotides are building blocks of nucleic acid, which means nucleic acids are made up of combination of nucleotides. Nucleotides have three characteristic components. They are a nitrogenous base, a pentose sugar and a phosphate group. DNA is made up of two types of the nucleotides. They are purines and pyrimidines. What are the purines? Purines are double ring structures. They are double ring structures. This is one ring and this is another ring. The two types of the purines found in DNA are adenine and guanine. You see adenine here, it is double membered ring structure. One is a six membered carbon ring structure attached to functional groups, and this six membered ring structure attached to five membered ring structure called imidazole. So the double ring structure of adenine is composed of a six-membered ring structure attached to five-membered ring structure. Likewise, we can see this in guanine also. A six-membered ring structure attached to five-membered ring structure. So, what are the purines? Purines are adenine and guanine. They are double ring structures. One is six-membered carbon ring, other one is five-membered imidazole ring. Next, coming to pyrimidines, there are two types, cytosine and thymine. These two are found in DNA, whereas in RNA, instead of thymine, another pyrimidine, uracil, is present. So, pyrimidines are single ring structures, single carbon ring structures attached to functional groups. See here, amino groups and CH groups are attached to carbon groups. So, purines are double ring structures, pyrimidines are single ring structures. So, already we discussed in first slide what is nucleotide. Nucleotide means a nitrogen base attached to sugar moiety and the sugar moiety is attached to phosphate group. So, here it is representing that monophosphate. So, single phosphate is attached to 5' carbon atom of the sugar ring. You see here, these are the nitrogen bases. These nitrogen bases are attached to sugar moiety. Here the sugar is deoxyribose sugar. Why here deoxyribose? In the place of second carbon atom, the functional group is lacking oxygen atom. Hence, it is deoxyribonucleic acid. You see in all nucleotides, the ribose sugars involved in the helix formation are deoxyriboses. What is deoxyribose? In the second carbon atom, the functional group only hydrogen is present. See, this is the first carbon atom, second carbon atom, third, four and five. So in the second place there is no oxygen, hence it is deoxyribose. So these are the purines and these are the pyrimidines. So nitrogen base attached to sugar. Now the sugar is attached to phosphate group. So the entire structure is called nucleotide. Entire structure is called nucleotide. See here, this is double ring structure. I already told you. 6-member structure attached to 5-member ring. So adenine and guanine. Now, to see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what is the position here? It is ninth position. The ninth position of the nitrogen base attached to the first position of the sugar moiety through glycosidic linkage. What is glycosidic linkage? When a sugar moiety attached to other functional groups is called the bond glycosidic linkage. So, purines are attached to sugar molecules with its ninth to first position of the carbon atom. So, all remember that ninth position is attached to first position of the sugar moiety. This is the linkage of the base with the sugar. Now come to attachment of the phosphate. Here the phosphate groups can be attached to 5 prime position and 3 prime position. Here I am showing you that monophosphate, nucleotide monophosphates. So nucleotide monophosphates means the phosphate group is attached to fifth carbon atom. Because of the presence of the single phosphate, they are known as monophosphates. Adenine monophosphate, guanine monophosphate, thymidine monophosphate, cytidine monophosphate. When in the place of one phosphate, if 3 phosphates are present, they are known as triphosphates. Nucleotide triphosphates means here 3 phosphate groups are attached to the fifth carbon atom of the deoxyribose sugar. So this is the representation of nucleoside and nucleotides for the corresponding nucleic acid. See here purines adenine and guanine, whereas for adenine nucleoside, that means nitrogen base, and when attached to sugar known as adenosine, when attached to phosphate known as adenylate, found in RNA. Whereas for the DNA they are known as deoxyadenosine and deoxyadenylate. Guanine, guanosine and guanylate for RNA, deoxyguanosine and deoxyguanylate for DNA. What are the pyrimidines? Cytosine and thymine. Uracil found in only RNA. Cytosine, for nucleoside it is cytidine, cytidylate found in RNA. Whereas for DNA, deoxytidine and deoxytidylate found in DNA. Thymine, thymidine and thymidylate for DNA. Whereas for uracil, uracil is found in RNA, not found in DNA. When it is in the form of nucleoside known as uridine, and when it is found in the form of nucleotide known as uridylate found in RNA. See, this is the sugar phosphate backbone found in the DNA. It's a nitrogen base attached to sugar moiety, and the sugar in its 5 position attached to the phosphate group. So this is the direction of 5 prime to 3 prime direction. What is 5 prime and 3 prime? DNA is a double helical DNA. One strand runs in 5 prime to 3 prime direction. Other strand runs in 3 prime to 5 prime direction. Here I am showing you 5 prime to 3 prime direction. So 5 prime means 5 prime phosphate left free in this strand. Again you see the 5 prime carbon atom attached to phosphate is left free, not involving any bond formation. But whereas the bond formation can be seen with the 3 prime hydroxyl group to the incoming 5 prime phosphates, thereby a phosphodiester bond is formed between the 3 prime hydroxyl group and newly incoming triphosphate. So it is the two ester linkages joins the 3 prime hydroxyl group and 5' carbon position of the sugar moiety known as phosphodiester linkage. Here two pyrophosphates and two water molecules are released. So the phosphodiester linkage joins the two sugar molecules in the strand. So thereby in a 5' to 3' direction, the 5' phosphate left free, the 3' carbon group is attached to the another sugar through phosphodiester linkages. So here you can easily understand by seeing the two strands 5' to 3' and 3' to 5' direction. As I already told you that 5' means 5' carbon atom phosphate group is free here. Whereas in the other direction, the opposite strand or anti-parallel strand have 3' phosphate left free and 5' 3' hydroxyl group is left free and 5' phosphate is forming bonds with the another sugar molecule of the strand. So here you see the pairing always purines pairs with the pyrimidines. So adenine pairs with the thymine, guanine pairs with the cytosine. The pairing between the adenine and thymine is with two hydrogen bonds, whereas for the guanine and cytosine it is about three hydrogen bonds. You see adenine and thymine is forming two hydrogen bonds and guanine and cytosine are connecting through three hydrogen bonds. So GC is nothing but three hydrogen bond, AT is two hydrogen bonds. These are the variant forms of the DNA available and A form, B form and Z form, and we know that the DNA naturally occurring DNA is B form of the DNA. This is double helical right-handed helix. Right-handedness means like a clock, how we can see the movement of the needles in the clock. The rotation of the strand is right-handed double helical DNA. So in the A form also right-handed double helical DNA, whereas Z form means it is a left-handed and the rotation is some turns are in the form of left, some turns are in the form of right. So it shows zigzag manner of the rotation. Here you see the differences between the A form, B form and Z form of the DNA. First what we have to see helical sense, that is nothing but how it rotates. A form is right-handed and B form is right-handed. As I already shown you here, you see these two are the right-handed double helical structure, whereas Z form is left-handed. Diameter. What is diameter? The width of the DNA molecule is nearly 26 angstroms for A form, 20 angstroms for B form, nearly 18 angstroms for Z form. So width means this is the diameter, nothing but the diameter. So this is about this will be varies for one form to another form. For B form it is 20 angstrom. Base pair per helical turn, that means number of base pairs found per one turn of the DNA, that is number of base pairs. Base pair means a purine pairs with the pyrimidine with another strand. So AT or GC, number of base pairs found in a single turn of the DNA. We see here for A form 11 and B form 10.5 and Z form 12 base pairs are found. Next point, helix rise per base pair. Helix rise per base pair means the width of the base pair. That means how much space a base, that is nucleotide, occupies in the DNA. What is that? The place occupied by the nucleotide for A form is 2.6 angstrom. In the B form, nucleotide occupies about 3.4 angstroms, whereas Z form 3.7. You see here. Next point, base tilt to the helix axis. That means how can it bends, how much it bends in the strand. The base, how much it bends towards the axis is about 20 degrees for A form, 6 degrees for B form, 7 degrees for Z form. Next, see the point sugar pucker conformation. What is sugar puckering? Already show you that a base attached to sugar moiety. So through glycosidic linkage. So, a base can rotate the sugar through its glycosidic linkage in any direction. So, that means a base rotates the sugar moiety in any direction. So, during the rotation, some functional groups becomes hinders. That means which does not show, which becomes hidden into the structure. So, whereas for the A form, on the sugar moiety, third functional groups become hindered. Whereas for B form, second functional group on the carbon atom becomes hindered. That means which does not show on the structure directly. That means sugar molecule becomes wrinkled. In the wrinkled form, C3 position we cannot see. Whereas for the B form, C2 position we cannot see. Understand what is sugar pucker conformation? Sugar puckering means sugar wrinkling or sugar molecule becomes shrinks. During the shrinking, the third position becomes hinders for A form and second position of the sugar on the B form becomes hinders. Whereas for the Z form you see here either endo means becomes inward, the functional group becomes inwards. Second functional group becomes inward in pyrimidines and whereas for the purines it becomes third functional group becomes inward. Next glycosyl bond conformation. So anti-conformation for A form, B form anti-conformation, anti for pyrimidines and syn for purines. So this conformation is nothing but how it rotates the direction, right-handed direction or the left-handed direction. So the study has come from the studies of the X-ray crystallography, originally used to look at the structures of simple organic minerals, but also progressively applied to more and complex materials. So initially X-ray crystallography is used to study organic materials, but later on it is also used to study the complex molecules like DNA molecules. Next to see about the important points of the double helix DNA. To shed more light on the structure of DNA, first the information has come from the Rosalind Franklin and Wilkins used the powerful method of X-ray diffraction to analyze the DNA fiber. So first who used X-ray crystallographic studies to understand the DNA fibers? Rosalind Franklin and Wilkins. So they showed in the early 1950s that DNA produces a characteristic X-ray diffraction pattern. So first they showed diffraction of the X-rays from the fibers. So from this pattern they deduced that means they stated that DNA molecules are helical with two periodicities along their axis. So first from their studies we came to know that DNA is double helical and the two strands are anti-parallel. The primary one is 3.4 angstrom and the other one is 34 angstrom. So next one is how these X-ray diffractional studies are used to understand or analyze the structure of the DNA. So this is the double helical structure. So right-handed structure, one strand runs in 5' to 3' polarity and the other strand is 3' to 5' polarity. You see here the entire turn is about 3.4 nanometers and it is each base occupies 0.34 nanometers and the width of the two strands or double helical DNA is 2 nanometers or 20 angstroms. So the basic points of the double helical DNA, and this is the double helical DNA chains wound around the same axis to form right-handed double helix as already we have seen in the structure, and the hydrophilic backbones of alternating deoxyribose and phosphate groups are on the outside of the double helix. The purine and pyrimidine bases of both strands are stacked inside the double helix. The hydrophobic planar ring structure very close together and perpendicular to the long axis. So it is made up of alternating sugar and alternating phosphate moieties. So the phosphate groups which are negative and which gives negative strength to the DNA molecule. So this is the detailed description of the DNA. Right-handed double helical. This is the base pairing AT and AT base pairing is with 2 hydrogen bonds, GC pairing with 3 hydrogen bonds. This is sugar phosphate backbone. So 5' to 3' direction. the two sugar moieties are joined together by phosphate group. So a sugar, phosphate backbone. Now you see this is 5 prime to 3 prime and this is 3 prime to 5 prime. The prime indicates the fifth carbon atom left free. Here the 3 prime carbon atom left free. So next you see here the complete turn about 3.4 nanometers. During the helical structure they form one major groove and they form minor groove. This is the major groove and this is the minor groove. Each base occupies, that is nothing but each base pair occupies 0.34 nanometers and the diameter of the helix is 2 nanometers. So always A pairs with T with 2 hydrogen bonds, G pairs with C with 3 hydrogen bonds. So hence two strands are complementary to each other. Because of the specificity in the base pairing, the amount of purines in DNA is equal to amount of pyrimidines, that is number of AT base pairs are equal to number of GC base pairs. So this proportion was given by Chargaff. So according to that, this is known as Chargaff's rule. What is Chargaff's rule? The amount of the purines are equal to amount of pyrimidines. The DNA double helix is held together by two forces: hydrogen bonding between complementary base pairs and base stacking interaction. Base stacking interactions are nothing but sugar phosphate backbone interactions. So these two gives stability to the double helix. So Watson and Crick in their laboratory they are reducing the structure of the double helical DNA. So this was done in 1953. This is the momentous event in science because this is the basic thing to understand the total control of the cell. For their outstanding work, they were successfully reduced the structure, and this information is useful to get the genetic information. So they got Nobel Prize for the novel and momentous event for reducing the double stranded DNA structure. Thank you.